everyone. Leani Lopez here, your host for I Got Nothing, a podcast for exhausted writers. And today I am talking with a fellow exhausted writer. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Dominique W. Brooks, and I have been writing officially for about 7 years. I've worn a lot of hats in my life. I've been an ophthalmologist, a medical consultant, an editor, and briefly a college educator. All these experiences were important in getting me to where I am now, a wife, mother, author, and kidney transplant survivor. I write under the pen name D.W. Brooks, and I've published a few journals under my business name, Life the Reboot LLC. I also love to dance, read, travel, cook, and when I have the time, spend time with my family. I'm looking forward to talking about being an exhausted writer with you today.
It was so funny when I came up with that sort of subtitle. It came about with a brainstorming session with my older sister because she's a writer as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I want to do a writing podcast where I interview other authors and talk about writing. And we were like trying to come up with a name. And my mind just went blank because I was so tired. And so I was just like, I got nothing. And then it was just like that movie moment where we like look at each other in the eyes.
Just perfect.
Yeah, it was just like light bulb. And most of the writers I talk to are freaking exhausted, so it worked out.
Yeah, it's a state of mind now.
Yeah, it's just who you are at a certain point. Yeah. So you said you've worn a lot of hats and you've done a lot of great things. Did you always know you wanted to be a writer? Is that something that kind of developed later?
No, it actually was one of my first job choices when I was a small kid. I'm a big reader, and when I was a child, I read a lot of Nancy Drew, Trixie Belden, Agatha Christie, Sherlock Holmes. And one thing that I did notice is that there were not a lot of characters that looked like me. I'm African American, I'm Black. Mm-hmm. And there weren't a lot of characters that were Black in these books. And since I'm older, back then there was no internet. You couldn't go surfing and looking for other stories, and there really weren't any indie authors. So really it was only what the traditional publishers put out. So my cousins and I, we were 8 years old, mind you, decided that we wanted to write our own book series, mystery series, with African American lead characters. And I repeat again, we were 8. So
yeah, that tracks me, and my cousins did the same thing.
Yeah. So we actually created a story Bible, which we didn't know what it was, but we sat down, named all of our characters. I had one cousin who was an artist, so she drew pictures for all of the characters so we knew what they looked like. We said who liked who were friends with who had history with who, and we wrote all this down. I recognize that that's considered advanced, but we didn't know what we were doing. We were just writing what we thought we would need. We also created a map for the neighborhood where everybody lived.
Amazing.
And then we decided to start writing stories. You noticed I left out plotting. We had no plotting. We did the basics, and then we decided to sit down and start writing. And we had a lot of, half written or 2-chapter stories that were illustrated because my cousin would draw pictures for them. But we were unable to get past the idea of the story to the end. It took us a while. We kept starting thinking, well, if we do this one, then we can get through there. And
oh, sweeties.
It never worked. We never finished any stories. And I took we also, I don't know if you're familiar with dot matrix paper, old computer paper, one side.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
My parents worked for my computer company, so we had tons of it around the house. So we would take that and staple it in half so it looked like a book, because I guess we thought that was what you really had to do to create a book. And so we would write the story, draw the pictures in it, and it was only be half done, and we had a bunch of those. There'd be a
Amazing.
cover on it, everything. And we ended up just putting them all in my mother's attic because we were 8. So we
Yeah,
moved
you were
on to
8.
something else. Yeah, we moved on to something else.
Yeah.
We realized that wasn't really going to work for us at that point. I was kind of the ringleader. So writing was something that I wanted to do, but I made the mistake of stopping writing. And at that point, I decided that I wanted to be a doctor.
Mhm.
So I left writing behind unless it was for a class or medical project or what have you. I didn't really write for fun anymore. And that was a mistake on my part
Yeah.
until I grew up, moved on. I practiced for a couple of years and then I went into medical consulting, medical editing. I worked for WebMD when WebMD first started.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And probably 15 years ago, I have a genetic kidney problem and my kidneys started failing and I was unable to do much of anything except kind of sit around at home. And I started feeling like I was really wasting a lot of time. I mean, I thought I
Mhm.
would love just sitting around watching television, but it really was not, uh, didn't work like I thought it would. And I had kind of played around with some characters in my head. And I decided that since I was sitting in my bed, I could sit in my bed with a laptop and start trying to flesh out some of these ideas in my head. And that's really when I started writing again.
Mhm.
And officially, I published my first book in 2023. So it took me a while to get there. Imposter syndrome attacked after I actually finished it. And
Yeah, it does that, doesn't it?
yeah, my first book, I thought, well, nobody's going to want to read this. And I was also taking care of my father at the same time. So I just put it
Yeah.
aside. And then after he passed away, I thought, well, I might as well find out if anybody will read it and finally move forward on the process of trying to get it out.
It's amazing the number of interviews I've done and authors I've talked to who stepped away from it,
Mhm.
who loved writing as a kid and then stepped away from it. It's so wild how those creative muscles and characters call you back into the fold.
Yeah,
Like they never really fully leave you behind.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my largest regrets is that I didn't continue because I think I would be in a different place right now, even if I
Mhm.
just kind of kept writing in notebooks around the house.
Yeah. I wrote through middle school and high school, and
Mhm.
then I went to college for writing and stopped writing
Oh,
because it was college and it was first time on my own. I was away from home. I was trying to experience all these different things. I did theater.
hmm,
And when I graduated, I had the beginnings of my first novel, my first ever novel.
hmm,
And then came having to work, and then I had my son, and I didn't finish that novel until 2013,
hmm.
even though I started it in like 2007.
Okay.
And then I still didn't really do much after that because I self-published, but self-publishing wasn't what it is today. It was a lot harder, it was a lot more niche, and there was no resources
Yeah.
to
Oh.
kind of take it further than that. And also I had a baby.
Yeah, that would do it. Now, I totally understand about self publishing because my husband had, back then, because my husband actually published his autobiography in 2007 or 2008. I don't, I the years start blurring together at this point.
At a certain point, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but he published his autobiography then, and I totally understand what you mean by it was different. I mean, he had to go through a different company. Amazon still helped with the distribution, but he had to. We have boxes still of I think second or third run of the of his publishing, and you had to find different editors. It was, I mean, there weren't. It wasn't like now where you could just go online and throw a rock and you can find an editor who
Yeah,
need
you
to,
just have to post something on
right.
Instagram and then like 12 people are like, I'm here. And you're like, cool,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, he had to search for somebody because,
Yeah.
they're like, you're publishing on your own? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So it
There was a
was,
lot of that back then.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a totally different beast. Now it's a complete industry, but then it wasn't. So I totally know what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So when you came back and you wrote, how did it feel to finally finish a book?
Given that we had written lots of half books in the first place, I was really excited that I actually finished, the end. I made it through the entire book. I can't believe I did this. And then that's when the little devil on my shoulder was like, haha, but nobody will read it except your husband, probably not anybody else in your family, maybe a couple of close friends will read this book. So I'm yay for finishing it. You can just put it aside and say, I've actually written a book. And I sat on it. So
Yeah.
I used part of the thing. I used my taking care of my dad as a reason. And I had also had a kidney transplant at that point. So
Yeah, you were going through a
yeah,
lot.
so I was like, okay, I will just leave it here. And I finished the book. Okay. And then after he passed away, I kept saying, well, I mean, I can do this. I took a online class on self publishing, and I said, well, I guess I could do this. It's Yeah, there's some money involved, but it's not impossible to do. I can find a cover and find an editor. And my husband said, I have an editor, person who edited my book will be glad to edit yours. And we went from there. And I still worry that people aren't reading it or reading any of them.
Yeah.
People are reading them, but you're always like, people aren't reading my books. What's wrong with it? So
Yeah.
it's marketing. I know that's the monster
It's
truth.
always the marketing
Yeah.
beast. It rears its ugly head.
Yeah.
And that imposter syndrome is a huge thing. That's something I've had to work through. I still work through.
Yeah.
And it really does crop up. I always say that because I have anxiety. I have at times pretty severe anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say that anxiety likes to wear logic's face because it likes to mask itself as logic
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, oh, I'm just being logical about this. And then when you sit and think about it, you're like, no, you just are reacting to a scenario you fully made up in your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
logical.
Nah, it's hard. It's hard not to have imposter syndrome because especially now, there's so many people out writing, which is great. I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool that you can publish a book with minimal cost now through KDP or Draft to Digital or any of the other organizations. They allow you to actually get your words out there. You
Yeah.
you can barter your way through the editing and the covers. I mean, it's possible to do it without very much money at all. Quality may be an issue at that point, but you can still get the book out if
Yeah.
if you want to. And so there are
Yeah.
lots of books out there, and it's hard to kind of fight through all the noise to get somebody to notice your book because you look at it and you think, I know if somebody reads it, they'll enjoy it. I promise.
Yeah.
but but
Exactly.
you have to get it in
Exactly.
front of people and get it in front of people when a whole lot of there's like 50 books coming at you at every hour, and you just kind of have to figure out how to get through that
Yeah.
to find your reader. And your book's not every book is not for everybody. So
Yeah. Exactly. And all of us writers talk about the marketing aspect, but it is a huge thing. And you have to almost be an influencer nowadays.
yeah.
And we don't have time for that. I don't.
Yeah. No.
I love the community. I love everything I've been able to do and like the momentum that's been building.
Hmm.
But when I'm actually working on a project, I I don't feel like posting because I'm doing something like I'm creating.
Yeah, that's something
And
that
it's
I
so
have.
difficult.
Yeah, because I'll get sucked into posting because I'm not really. I mean, I'm not an influencer, but I do like to push my, post books or posts about my friends' books. Like, yeah, I'm reading this. I've done multiple of those month-long challenges, and
Yeah.
I find those a great opportunity to stick a picture of one of my books or one of my friends' books up on a post. And, I don't know if a
Mhm.
whole lot of people are seeing them, but just kind of keeping people's books in the conversation, even if it's one of their older books. And like I said, I don't know if I have a whole lot of viewers, or if anybody even is worried about what I'm putting on my post, but I feel like that's important for indie authors to kind of put each other's info, books, new publications, what have you, out there as much as we can. Because although trad is making authors do a lot of their own work nowadays too, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a tough time to be out there, I guess.
Yeah, and I think another part of it is that some writers are so fast.
Oh yeah.
And like me, I'm not a fast writer.
Hmm.
Like the basic story I can get down pretty quickly, or like my ghostwriting stuff that I do for other people,
Hmm.
I can do pretty quick, but I've been doing that for like 6 or 7 years now.
Hmm.
And when it's my own project, it takes a long time. And so I have 2 books published
Hmm.
under my name, and I wrote those many, many years ago before I even became an indie author.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like so left behind sometimes because people are like, yeah, I have a release this time and release this time. And they're like, when's your next release? I was like, hell if I know. Could not tell you that.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I had a big plan at the beginning of this year, and my big plan just kind of disintegrated in front of my very eyes. So I've gotten one book published this year. I'm working on the second book in that new series. It's not even that I'm a slow writer. It's that everything else keeps popping up.
Yeah.
With my daughter now 20 years old, she's moved into a different phase of life, and there are lots of paperwork and things we have to do now that she's out of high school and about to transition out of the transition program.
Yeah.
So we have to get ready for her next steps. So I'm in meetings and filling out paperwork
Yeah.
and doing all these other things. And then I still have to deal with my own health issues. So I go to the doctor for myself and on and on. And, we had a kid, another, our son going off to law school. So we had to get him ready. So there's always other things that kind of keep me from writing. And then I end up
Yeah.
writing late at night when I'm tired. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's not that I don't think I'm slow. I think if I could commit to writing first thing in the morning every morning, I probably would get more done. I have two three-quarter written books already that I'm supposed to go back and edit and finish. And I want to get this other book done first before I go back to those. So,
Yeah, yeah, I had to put my book aside, which I have been trying to write since 2016,
oh, yeah.
to do my audio drama because I just felt like it was the time to do it.
Hmm.
And now that that's up, and I'm just like, great, I can focus on this.
Yeah.
And then all these other little things keep cropping up, and I'm like, I just want to write a book.
Yeah, yeah, I
Not enough
understand.
hours in the day.
Yeah, I understand.
So when you do write at those like late at night times or whenever you can, do you have any kind of writing rituals to get yourself in the right like mindset, or do you just go, I have time, I need to write right now?
That's
Like
that's basically it. I have time. I need to write now, and I like to have. I have to have background noise, but I have to have background noise all the time.
Yeah.
When I
Yep.
was working as an editor, I had to have background noise. It's who I am, and
Yep.
it can be either TV or music. I
Yeah.
have noticed that the TV needs to be something that I've already seen before,
Yeah.
so
A
I don't
hundred
have
percent.
to look up and say, "Oh, I don't even know what's going on." It
Yeah.
has to be some rerun, a comfort show, or something, just
Yes.
kind of droning in the background, and then I can go from there. And I snack a lot and drink a lot of
Snacks
water.
are good.
Yeah, drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
So
I feel you on the background noise. I feel you on that.
yeah, silence is not my friend. I'm an only child. I grew up in silence. I just don't like it.
The only time I need silence is if it's like a really intense like scene that I can't like wrap my head around.
Hmm.
So I'll like mute the TV and then I'll like speak the scene out loud.
Hmm.
So I have to hear myself say it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I usually have like a comfort show in the background or I do like a playlist for that
yeah,
particular project
yeah,
and so I'll pop that in.
yeah.
It's really interesting to see how people write and like what they need in their environment to be creative because it's different for everyone.
That's true. That's true. I have plenty of friends who like the silence, and I can't do
Yeah,
it.
I know because that my brain wanders too much.
Yeah, yeah. What I've tried to do, because as obvious from when I was 8, I am a pantster. So
Yeah.
I try to write an outline, but that outline usually gets blown out of the water pretty quickly. And I also started trying to do audio notes because I'll be in my car driving down the street and a scene will pop up in my head that I would love to have in the book, but of course I'm driving.
Oh
So,
yeah.
and I've tried to record a few of them to see it, so I'm going to see if that actually helps.
I had an idea because my son, I had to homeschool him for a little bit.
Hmm.
So I left my full time job in 2018
Hmm.
to write full time, but then ended up having to homeschool my son.
Hmm.
So I didn't really get to write full time as I had envisioned it until 2023.
Okay.
So I would have to be taking him to some therapies or, other appointments. And I'd be in the car for like an hour every day total. And like a scene would just come up into my head and I have anxiety with driving, so I wouldn't be able to like press record.
Hmm.
Or it's playing a playlist that he wants to listen to. So if I interrupt it, it will kind of throw him off.
Right.
So I would just have to sit there and think of the scene for the 20-minute drive and then hope I remember to write it down when I get
Yeah, no,
home.
I've had several occurrences of that, and of course, the scene sounds better in your head than when you start writing it, and you're like, oh, it
Oh,
sounded so much better when I was thinking about it. Now it doesn't flow as well.
I know. I had one like line of dialogue for the audio drama that made me laugh so hard.
Hmm.
And I managed to work it into the script organically. And I was so proud. And I had them record the lines and it made me laugh. And then when I was editing that episode, the line didn't fit the tone. So I ended up having to edit it out. And it was so sad. In the script, I crossed it out and then drew a sad face next to it. 'Cause, like it sounds so funny in my head and it is funny, but in the context of the whole scene, it
Yeah,
just didn't work and I was very upset about it and I still am.
yeah, no, I understand. It's like, wow, they're having this great argument, and it makes so much sense, and then you start writing it down, going, but I had a couple of good zingers in there, and I don't
Yeah.
remember them, or they don't feel quite as zingy as they did before.
They don't land as much as I was hoping they would.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess I can't use that. Okay.
And so when you get a new writing idea, I know you were saying you like try to you're going to try to do memos and you kind of write things down, but when a new idea kind of takes root, how do you develop it further?
Uh, I said pantster all the way. I have I
Respect.
yeah, I have the outline, and then I come up with scenes, because like the one I'm working on now, I'm using Dabble. I actually personally like writing in Word better than Dabble, but it allows me to move my chapters around.
Oh,
So,
nice.
so what I end up doing is creating a list of chapters where I go through and write what I want to have happen in that chapter. And I can move them around in Dabble, but then I take it out of Dabble once I started writing it and put it in Word because
Mhm.
Word will correct my spelling and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'll write it in Word and then copy it back into Dabble, and then I can move it around. So I make it as hard as possible for myself.
Hey, man, whatever helps the creative process. We don't have control over the creative process. Let me just put that out there. If you guys think you control your creative process, we need to have a chat.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
it
So
is just a state you go into, and you just kind of have to go with what feels right.
yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do now. So I'm creating scenes in the chapter, and it's going to be longer than the number of chapters I've written out, but it's giving me a base to start with. And I have some scenes in my head that I am almost ready to skip to and just write because I think that they're important for
Mhm.
the story, but I keep telling myself I need to just kind of march through this. Like right now I'm on their first date. So it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
Yeah. It really is. Writing is a lot more difficult than I think people realize.
Yeah, it's a lot more difficult than my 8-year-old self realized either.
Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna write a book,
Yeah, we're gonna
and
staple the paper together, and then
that's it.
yeah,
That's all it takes.
we'll have a book. Yay!
That's the most, like, 8-year-old mindset I've ever heard. Like, "I did a book, see, I stapled paper together and it looks like a book, so that means it's a book, right?"
That's basically what we were saying. It looks like a book.
Yeah.
We had no idea of how we would make that a book that a bunch of other people might be able to read, or how we could scale up so we could make copies of it. Nothing. It was just we have one book. I guess we'll pass it around to everybody.
Like, imagine if that's how that actually worked. Like, just one copy of every book, and you just have to get on a wait list and just be like, "Oh, I don't know, there's 3 people ahead of me, I can't wait to read it in,
Yeah,
like, 3 years."
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that was that would be
Yeah.
insane.
Uh, so, as a writer, there's a lot of advice that goes around, which is why I created this podcast. What was the best piece of writing advice that you've received?
I think I kind of mentioned it already. Is don't stop. Don't stop writing.
Yeah.
Even if you're writing for yourself and just jotting down in a journal or you have notebooks or what have you, I think that you should continue to write. You can write a book. You don't have to publish it. You can write poetry. Just don't stop writing. If writing is what
Yeah.
fuels you, don't stop doing it. You can write late at night, early in the morning. It doesn't have to be your career. If writing fuels you, continue to do it. Don't let anybody or anything stop you from putting pen to paper.
Yeah. I think when I went to college, I not only stopped writing in general for my book, I stopped writing fan fiction, which was always my little
Ah,
personal thing I did for myself. And that's how I got into writing.
mm-hmm.
And I haven't written fan fiction in 2 years because I've been working on my other stuff.
Right.
And I can feel the difference because that was just purely for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it probably went up on Archive of Our Own or on Tumblr, or it may still be in my drafts, but it was like just a little treat for me. It was like writing self-care.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, I wrote a book, but now I need to go write about Star Trek for a little bit. Like, you know,
Yeah, I used to read a lot of fanfic. From on
it's so good.
fanfiction.net.
.net,
Yeah.
yes.
I
Oh, geez.
yeah, at the time I was into a couple of soap operas, like All My Children, and I was actually amazed at the ability of some of these writers to take the characters from the soap opera and not, they would let you know if they changed some of the history from the soap opera, but they would
Yeah.
write stories about these characters that were better than what
Yeah.
was showing up on the TV and
Uh-huh.
more in line with the character and everything. And
Yeah.
there's some, they would have like 50 chapters. You're just reading it going, I'd rather read this than see the show.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I actually got my first ghostwriting job because I wrote fan fiction.
Wow.
Because that's ghostwriting, you take other people's worlds and ideas and characters and you write it for them.
Right.
That's so if anybody says fan fiction will get you nowhere, I literally became a ghostwriter because I wrote fan fiction first.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's, yeah, it's amazing. Like I said,
It's just fun.
yeah. Yeah. Every so often I'll try to see if fanfiction.net still exists. And it's this.
Archive of Our Own, honey.
Yeah.
Archive of Our Own is the new one.
Oh, yeah. So I go and, go and try to look up some of the old ones that I really
Oh my
enjoyed
god.
and sit there and breeze through them pretty quickly and say, this was incredibly good. I just can't believe this person's not a writer.
Still good. Still good. Yeah. Those are the stories that stick with you, the ones that are so much better than you ever anticipated them being.
Right, right. It's just totally out of what you did not, because you're reading a fan fiction. I mean, anybody can write fan fiction, right? So you're planning to enjoy yourself, but you don't think that it's necessarily going to be, incredible literature.
Yeah.
And then you get there and you're like, wow, this was really well put together. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And lastly, to kind of wrap things up, we talked about don't stop writing, but what advice would you give to new indie authors who are just starting out?
Find a group of other indie authors who are at the same level as you are. Writing is generally a solitary activity most of the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's difficult to be successful all by yourself. You need to have other people that you can go to for support, advice, information, cheerleading, because there are going to be some ugly days out there, and
Oh, yeah.
hand holding if you're not sure what you're doing. You need to find some people that you trust and that are writing as well. So you can all offer that into each other, for each other. You can pour into each other and you can cheer for each person's wins, or, cry, or not really cry, or cry over their,
Or vent.
yeah, or
Yeah.
prevent, things that could go
Yeah.
wrong. So
Yeah.
that's, I got lucky. I kind of stumbled into a group of other writers who are all, most of us, there are some of us in the group have been writing for a long time, but we're all kind of in the same general area of success, or
Yeah.
lack thereof, I guess. Still trying to find our audiences, I guess would be the better way to put it. And we have given each other lots of information. When you hear something, you pass it on. When you see something,
I love that. It's so helpful.
Yeah, you pass it back and forth. We help try to promote each other, things like that. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been really helpful.
It has. I've spoken with the other writers about this too. The community that's sort of cropped up with indie authors, especially the ones that we're a part of, because that's how we've all met. And they're just so supportive.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is be like, hey, what's that? Like,
Yeah.
Is this important? Do I need to do this? Or I keep seeing this phrase, and at least 2 or 3 people will answer you and not make you feel dumb for not knowing. Yeah, they're like, oh, yeah, no, this is this. Or like, oh, that's actually really important. Or it's like, that's not important at all. They're trying to scam you.
Right.
Like, they're very straightforward, and it's so refreshing.
Yeah, or they warn you about scams that are out there, or give you examples of them, like all those lovely emails of, hey, author, I came across your book. I generally don't answer.
All vague terms, no names.
Yeah, I'd like to review your story, and everything takes everything not to reply. Like, you can review my book. You don't need me for that.
Yeah, I put out a call for alpha readers because my book has gone through several iterations. So I just want to make sure like the newer parts are tied in very well to the older parts.
Okay.
And I got a good number of people, and 2 of them, gave me great feedback right away, and then turned around and tried to sell me something and tried to get money out of me, and then tried to get me to review them. And I was just like, shouting swears at my laptop that I'm not going to repeat here.
Yeah, yeah, no,
It's so discouraging and it's so frustrating.
yeah, it's, or better yet, the one where it says, I noticed I've seen things about your book. Is it available on Amazon? It's like, do you need me
I
for
don't know.
that?
Why don't you go
Yeah,
and look?
yeah, it's like, do you need me for that?
Yeah, they're just trying to get you to respond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, no, it's
No.
on Amazon. Look it up.
Like, bro, I've got links everywhere. So
Yeah.
I don't know where you came from, but I'm sure you can find it.
Yeah, so it's good to have other people, especially like this past week about the whole KDP allowing you to try to get your ebooks into libraries. That was the whole
Yeah.
discussion. And I think, a lot of people were just like, hey, we should just wait. And it was just nice to have a lot of people discussing it and thinking about the pros and cons of, whether you should try to do it or whether you should wait until we get some
Mhm.
actual feedback from KDP before you try to do that and end up in trouble. So,
Yeah, especially with public libraries, if you're like in a like rural place like I am,
mhm.
you can just go to the library and be like, "Hey, I wrote some books. Can you guys put these on the shelves?" And 9 times out of 10, they're like, "Okay."
That's so very
Like,
nice. I,
yeah.
yeah, it takes a little bit more work around here. I mean, I'm in a suburb of Houston.
But like, there's stuff that we can now do on our own that we don't need to do through a company,
Yeah,
essentially, which is
yeah.
so nice.
Well, that's one of the cool things now that all the indie romance stores are opening, and
Yeah, I love that.
yeah,
I'm
and
like, hell yeah.
yeah, and many of them have forms on their site saying, "Hey, we'd like to stock your book." But
Yeah,
just fill this out, and I mean, obviously, we can't take every book, but at least you have a shot at getting your book
yeah,
on a shelf.
yeah. Amazing. Well, it was wonderful speaking with you, Dominique. And I hope you had as much fun as I did.
I did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And where can people find you online?
My Instagram handle is at author DW Brooks, as is my thread handle. TikTok is D period W period Brooks, and Facebook Dominique.w.brooks. And my website is authordwbrooks.com. I try to keep it as consistent as possible.
Yeah, I totally get it. And I'll definitely put links in the description. So if you're listening to this, go check the description for links to find Dominique everywhere.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And I hope everybody enjoyed listening, and go check out Dominique's stuff. And as always, happy writing.